Yes, lads, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be doing some season predictions. Of course, my first few videos on this channel were actually season predictions. We've come a long way since then, so thank you for all of the support since those initial videos. But now I'm back with more knowledge. We've seen how teams have started, and I'm ready to give my updated season predictions that, to be honest with you, I actually think I've nailed it completely spot on. So, of course, during the video, if there's anything that you do see that you want to give a comment for, please do so. And if you are enjoying the content, of course, as well, please do subscribe. It means a lot to me. So, we're going to start with League 2, and we're going to go from 24th all the way up to 1st. So, let's waste no more time. Let's get into this. So, in 24th, then, finishing in the bottom place of League 2 and getting relegated, I'm going to go for Accrington Stanley. They've just not quite shown me enough so far this season. I think the clubs around them are going to do better and push on, and Accrington, unfortunately, are going to be left at the bottom of the table. So, Accrington going down. Next up, it's Cheltenham Town in 23rd place. I was very torn between 23rd and 22nd. You'll see who that is in a minute. But Cheltenham, for me, just not going to have quite enough. Even with a new manager, I'm not really that fussed. I just think as a squad overall, they're lacking in certain areas. Maybe with a good January window, they might be able to push on. But for me personally, they're just going to finish 23rd. Again, it could be tight between 23rd and 22nd. But for me, Cheltenham are going down. Unfortunately, it'll be sad to see both Cheltenham and Accrington go. But I just don't think they've got enough. 22nd place, then, it's going to be Newport County. It's a weird one with Newport because they've actually shown the most out of the three sides I've just mentioned in terms of being able to stay up, even though the results have not demonstrated that. So it's a strange one, but I just think they're going to have enough to, it will be close. It will always be close, but I think they're going to have enough to do so. So, as I say, it could be either Cheltenham or Newport. Accrington more nailed on, but Newport to me to just have enough and stay up. 21st place, I've gone for Barrow. Just a bit of an underwhelming start to the season. I look at the teams around them as well and just think they're just, unfortunately for them, going to get pushed down and down and down. They might be in contention to get relegated by the end of the season, but for me, they'll be very comfortable in terms of staying up. It won't be anything like a last day sort of thing for Barrow. They've got enough to do that. But yeah, just getting pushed down by better teams around them. 20th place, I have gone for Shrewsbury. A really difficult start for them, but they've managed to show a few signs recently that there is a bit of life in there. However, I feel as though this season down in League 2, it's all about building for the future and trying to stabilise the club. They're in a horrible downward spiral of momentum, and I just think if they can stop the rot and just do all right this season and push on a little bit from where they are now, they'll actually take that, because so far they have been shocking. 19th place, we've got Harrogate Town. I actually had Harrogate to get relegated. I don't think they will now. They've started the season showing me enough that they're good enough to stay in this league. They've got a few key players here and there that will help, all throughout the season to keep them away from the relegation zone and away from any fear of going back down to the conference. So yeah, Harrogate for me, they're just going to be all right. 18th place is Crawley, who have shown some signs of being a half-decent team, but have also shown some signs of being absolutely horrific. So it all depends on which Crawley we get for the rest of the season. I think we're going to get a mix between the two, and therefore that's why I've still got them relatively low down. But on their day, they're sort of a side that could really just do a job on many teams in this league. So yeah, 18th place, I've gone for Crawley. 17th place, I've gone for Tranmere. A decent start for Tranmere that has now not looked so decent at all. I've heard a few fans say they're worried about relegation. I don't think they need to be. I think they'll be okay this season, but they do have to iron out a few of these bad results that they do get, just, for a bit of consistency. So Tranmere in 17th, don't think they'll do anything crazy, but also don't think they'll be anywhere near the relegation zone. 16th place, then I've gone for Oldham, who, they've made a decent start back into League 2. But I just feel as the season goes on, the quality of the teams around them will push them down a little bit. And originally I had them finishing maybe 10th or 11th, sort of around that mid-table area. Now I do think it'll be further down, but it's still a great season regardless for Oldham. And that is exactly the same for Barnet in 15th. They've had a very decent start, but again, I do feel as though they will begin to fade off a little bit down the table. But again, 15th place is solid for them. They'll take that, I'm sure. Don't get me wrong, fans will always want more, but to establish establish yourselves, both Oldham and Barnet, back into League Two. That is an achievement in itself. And listen, this is a very strong and competitive League Two as well. So 15th place, it is Barnet. 14th place, I'm going to go for Colchester. They've made a good start here and there, but the inconsistency of their performances is going to be what cost them. I just think that how can you go from winning 6-2 to then losing 2-0 or whatever it might be for them? And I just think those results will catch up with them, but they're a young, exciting team, and I do feel as though they'll have a few crazy days out for the Colchester fans. However, overall, I can't see them really getting into the top half of the table. 13th place, I've gone for Fleetwood, maybe a little bit lower than many people would have thought. Just for me, they've got good signs that they're a very solid side this season, but again, similar to likes of Colchester, I just don't think they're going to be able to push into that top half. So it will still be a decent season, I feel, for Fleetwood, just not the season that probably many thought they'd have after their start to the season. In 12th place, it's Bromley. Now, at the start of the season, I said they can't just rely on Michael Cheek, and because of that, they're going to fall down the table. Well, it's not been the Michael Cheek show as it was last season. He's still been decent, but it hasn't been the Michael Cheek show. And they're proving to everyone that they are more than capable of grinding out a few results. However, I don't think there'll be anything special. I think 12th is a very fair place for them to finish, and they're going to push on in the seasons to come. So 12th is a very solid season for them. 11th place, it is Crewe, and I was very, very impressed with Crewe early doors at the start of the season. It's began to falter out a little bit, and I feel as though the momentum's not quite as with them. I do think they'll get top half. I think they might even be in contention for the playoffs with a few games to go, but I just don't think they'll have enough. However, look at next season. That's where I see Crewe being able to mount a charge for promotion. After a really solid season this season, I think they will. So I'm not going to give them actual playoffs, but I will say they might be in the race come the end. In 10th place, it's Chesterfield, and it's sad to say this, but I just don't think they've got enough to push into the playoffs. I did at the start of the season. There's been inconsistencies. I spoke about it over on TikTok, how I just felt as though they were a little bit inconsistent and something just seems to be off. So I don't think they'll get into the playoffs. Another team that will be in the race, but they're going to fall short. 9th place, it's Bristol Rovers, a side that are showing that they can grind out results, and they've really improved on the start of the season that they made. Again, I don't think they're going to be able to get into the playoffs. They've got some very, very good players in that squad. Maybe from this point onwards, everything is a little bit more interchangeable and they could sneak in. However, anyone that thinks they're going to be in that sort of 4th, 5th slot, absolutely not. I think they're going to be really, really lucky to be able to get into the playoffs at all. But that's also not a horrible season for them, you know. Coming down from League One, stabilised, ready to push on next season. 7th place and just missing out on the playoffs, I'm going to go for Notts County. They've got a very solid side, and I have been very critical of them so far this season. However, I do feel as though I'm beginning to see a side that is now finding their feet in this new style of play that they've got, and it seems to suit them as well, and they've got marquee signings like Matthew Dennis that are really providing the goods for them. So I think they'll be one of those teams that are just going to be up there and up there and up there, but unfortunately just miss out. 7th place, the first slot in the playoffs, I'm going to go for Cambridge United, one of those sides that not many people has in that playoff area, but for me personally, I feel as though they're going to push on as the season goes on. This squad of players that they have will only get better and better and better, and I think they will sneak it. As I say, the few spots I just mentioned, all very interchangeable, but Cambridge to have enough to get into the playoffs. 6th place, then it's Grimsby Town, who have had a very, very solid start to the season, all around as well. In the Carabao Cup, of course, beating Manchester United, which was a huge victory for them. So I just think there's a lot of buzz and a lot of positivity around a Grimsby side that very nearly got the playoffs last season, and I think this season they will go on and do it, and they'll get 6th place as well. And maybe that's where I stop the interchangeableness, and maybe after this place it'll be a little bit more solid, but Grimsby probably will be a little bit more ahead than the other teams. In 5th place, it is Walsall, who have made a very strong start to the season. I had them finishing, I believe it was 15th in my initial season predictions, and it was just because the fall off from last season. How could I look at a very similar group of players and expect them to be able to, you know, get top of the league at this point now, as an example? But they've managed to do so, and fair play to them as well. They look a very solid side. There's been a few squeaky games here and there where they've been fortunate to get points, but that is what good teams do. So Walsall, who have very much found their feet now, coming in 5th. In 4th place, it's going to be Salford City. Again, another side that are beginning to find their feet, a very solid outfit. We always knew they were going to be up there in some regard in terms of the playoffs, and I still think they will be. That's why I think they'll come in fourth. A very solid side, a very consistent side. You know, they will drop points here and there, but that is League Two. Everyone will. It's probably one of the most competitive leagues. All of the English EFL leagues are very competitive, but League Two this season in particular. So Salford coming in fourth for demonstrating to me they've got the consistency and the squad that can do so. Getting promoted then in third place, I'm going to go for Gillingham. They had a crazy unbeaten run under Gareth Ainsworth, and I look at him as the type of manager who's going to grind out results. Look at the Cheltenham game. Of course, a point against Cheltenham is not good enough. It's not title winning form. It's not promotion form. However, it sort of is, because if you can grind out results like that in the big moments and score the key goals, I think you've got enough. And this Gareth Ainsworth side are going to be very difficult to beat. They're also going to be half decent going forward. So I just think in terms of consistency, them, Salford, Walsall, they are going to be up the table, and Gillingham are actually going to pip everyone and get the automatic promotion place. So this brings me on to the top two. And I'm expecting these two sides to be slightly further ahead than all the rest of the teams. So in second place, I'm going to go for MK Dons. They obviously had a few ropey results here and there. I think they lost 2 or 3 on the bounce at home, which is just not very good for a team of their quality. But as this season goes on, we were reminded last weekend, they can beat anyone, and not just beat anyone, thump anyone. So it's crazy to me if anyone doesn't have MK Dons in that top 3, because they're clearly going to get there, and they are just a very good side. It's a boring pick, I know, but of course, MK Dons in second. So in first place then, and champions of League 2, it is Swindon Town. A long time coming, under Ian Holloway now as well. They look so good. And at the start of the season, I had a few reservations about them. Ian Holloway has answered my questions. And to be honest with you, I do actually think Swindon genuinely will go on and win this league. A very good team. They've had a few results where I've looked at and thought they've been very unlucky. So even when they have lost, they've looked good whilst doing it. So Swindon to win the league under Ian Holloway and get back into League One. Now then, on to League One. In 24th place, I'm going to go for Peterborough United. They've just made a horrible start, and it's backed up with the sort of negative feel about the club itself. The fans are worried. Is this finally going to be the season? I think it will be. The quality in the league is ridiculous. So Peterborough, unfortunately for them, to finish dead last. 23rd place, I'm going to go for Rotherham. I just don't see it with them. I know they've scraped a few results here and there, but I genuinely think they are demonstrating relegation form, and a lot has got to change. In January in particular, I'm looking at new signings that need to come in, maybe a bit of experience that knows what they're doing, but as things stand right now, Rotherham to join Peterborough down in League 2. 22nd place, I've gone for Burton Albion. They might have, in my opinion, the nicest kits out of the whole of League 1 this season, but that means nothing, because they, to me, are going down. They've not demonstrated enough signs that they're capable enough to stay in the league, and I just feel as though there's other teams that have demonstrated a bit more than them, and therefore Burton, and I say it's really tight in League 1 this season. It could be quite a few teams, to be fair. Burton, for me, though, are going to be one of them. 21st place, I've gone for Exeter. 21st and 20th, these two are very interchangeable, but I've gone for Exeter just because I feel as though the other team I've put slightly above them, that I'll get onto in a minute, are just a bit better in terms of management and the squad itself. So Exeter, even though they've had a few decent games this season, they will fall off, they will drop down. It might be close, but they are going down. And in 20th place, it is Northampton. I'm just backing Kevin Nolan's side to have enough to stay up, and I think that the teams above them might be a few more points ahead, so it really could be the 5 I've already said in a real relegation scrap, with maybe Peterborough finished off by Christmas. But Northampton, enough to stay up, that I didn't think so at the start of the season. In the first few games, I was thinking, oh my word, they are going straight down. But when I've watched them, they are a solid side. So Northampton to just stay up. 19th place, we've got Wigan. What an underwhelming start it has been for Wigan, and I just don't know how it's going to get better. I look at the squad, and I just think it's a very average group of players. A group of players that at the start of the season, I really did think had a real shot at promotion, at the playoffs, sorry, at least. But yeah, wow, this Wigan side has really fell off a cliff. And yeah, I just can't see it. I just don't see it. I wanted to put them higher. I'm a big fan of Wigan. I'd love Wigan to be back in the Championship, back in the Premier League. It's not going to happen 100% this season. So 19th place, it is Wigan. 18th place, I'm going to go for Blackpool. And Blackpool, to me, again, a team that you could look at right now and think, oh, they're in trouble. I don't think they will be. I do think they've got a good enough squad to stay in the league. Of course I do. It all depends on who they do get in as a manager. I'll be honest, I haven't seen any news on it. I heard Ian Evatt was favourite at one point. Whether that's actually taken place now, I'll be honest, I don't know. But regardless of who they get in, Blackpool is an attractive club to go and manage. So I think whoever does come in will push them up the table. But this season, to me, it's all about just, not survival, that's dramatic, but all about just stabilising and just getting a group of players that can get a few results in towards the end of the season. So unfortunately for Blackpool, it's just a bit of a season now, and just focus on next year. 17th place, that is AFC Wimbledon. I originally thought they were actually going to go down. Now, not at all. I think all of the promoted teams, fair play to them, have shown enough to stay in the league. And Wimbledon, they look very good in certain areas of the pitch, will always cause teams issues. I do think they will fall off. They've had a good bounce in terms of coming up. But yeah, I'm going to go for them down in 17th. 16th place, I'm going to go for Reading. And again, people might look at this and think this is low down, but there's just something off about Reading in my opinion. It could be the kits. The kits are horrendous. But it's not the kits, it's the actual players on the pitch. And there's just something about them, as I say, that's just not quite right. So I don't necessarily think they're going to be anywhere near the bottom. I think almost they're going to finish the bottom of the mid-table, if that makes sense. I'm not seeing enough of Noel Hunt's side, so if nothing changes from here to January and moving forward, I think 16th is where they'll be. 15th place, I'm going to go for Doncaster, who made a great start to the season, but now have faded a little bit and have sort of dropped down the table. And I think they'll continue to do so with a few inconsistent results here and there. So Doncaster sitting down in 15th, and for them, surely that's a very solid start to life back in League One. 14th place, I've gone for Port Vale, because Port Vale, to me, have been unlucky in quite a few games this season. Of course, losing Tolaj as well was a big blow for them, but they seem to have bounced back and recovered well. And so I just think 14th is a very fair place for them to finish. And as I say, they play good football and they've been unlucky in some games. So flip those games round, where would they be? I think they'd be in 14th. 13th place, it's Wycombe, a squad that was probably good enough to challenge for the playoffs. Now, after Mike Dodds, under Michael Duff, I just think they're going to be around the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They'll be in that mid-table region. They might have a chance early doors, but as the season goes on, they'll drop down. And ultimately, I just think it's a solid season for Wycombe after the start that they made. Go again next year and, give Michael Duff a full season. 12th place, it's Mansfield Town, who do the annual, oh my goodness, are they going to win the league? And now they're going to finish 12th. So Mansfield, they do it every year, as I say. They seem to show a great bit of form at the start and fall off. And I think it will be the same case this season as well. So 12th place for Mansfield after a very decent start that always seems to fade away. It's the same story, different season, but the same story. 11th place is Barnsley, and obviously I knew I was going to do this video at some point, and at the start of the season I thought, am I going to have to put Barnsley well in those playoffs? And unfortunately for Conor Horahan's side, I just don't think they are around that sort of quality level that other clubs are. And I think it's unfortunate for them. I think they're, one or two players away from getting there, but they're just not quite there for me. So I think they will be in 11th place. They might be in the playoff shouts towards the end of the season, but fade away. So yeah, Barnsley sat in 11th. In 10th place, and now from this point onwards, things will be tight. But 10th place, I'm going to go for Lincoln City, because I just feel as though out of all of the clubs I've got above them, they are maybe the worst out of them. And the worst seems harsh. It shouldn't be, because they're a very solid side. But the quality of this league is really, really close this season. A lot of clubs could be interchangeable. But for me, as I say, Lincoln just to fall slightly shorter than everyone else in that race for promotion in 10th place. 9th place, it is Leyton Orient, who have shown a lot of inconsistency so far this season. But I see a lot of quality in that side. A side that everyone is going to enjoy watching as the season goes on. They've got goals in their game. They seem to concede quite a few as well. Iron that out, which I think they will. And I think they'll be there or thereabouts. But I don't think they'll quite get the playoffs. Unfortunately for them, they'll just miss out. 8th place, and speaking of just missing out, I'm going to go for Bolton. It's a very similar story. A few inconsistent results here and there. It will cost them as the season goes on. But overall, they'll have a solid season and push themselves up there. there. Again, another side with a lot of quality that do seem to score quite a few goals, but defensively, that's where their issues lie. So yeah, Bolton is, well, just missing out on the playoffs. In 7th place, and really just missing out on the playoffs, it's Plymouth. And I think they're going to have a very good season under Tom Cleverley now, and they will push on. But unfortunately for them, there will just be a few games that let them down. So Plymouth to just miss out, but to certainly have a decent season under Tom Cleverley. Will that be enough for him to save his job, though? I actually don't think it will. As far as Plymouth are concerned, they want to be challenging in the playoffs for the title. And if Tom Cleverley is unable to do that, maybe he's not the right man for the job. Or maybe they give him another season. There's a lot of unknowns with Plymouth, but ultimately just missing out. 6th place, and in that final playoff spot, I'm going to go for Bradford, a side that have started very well, made some great recruitment choices off the pitch as well. And this young squad with experience sort of splattered here and there, for me, has got enough to get the playoffs. And it will be a great achievement for them. Bradford, certainly a club that was far bigger than League 2, showing now that they might even be able to get themselves out of League 1. 5th place, I'm going to go for Stevenage, a side that maybe a few questions are being asked. Have they got the longevity of a season to push themselves into the playoffs? And I think they have. And I think it's down to that defence, such a solid defence, something for me so important in this league. And as I mentioned a minute ago, the Boltons, the Leyton Orients of this league, if you can't keep the goals out, it will cost you, and that's why I've gone for Stevenage to finish above them in 5th place and get the playoffs. In 4th place, it's Luton Town under Jack Wilshere now, of course, because again, another example that I'm getting old. Jack Wilshere is now a manager of Luton. Anyway, but Jack Wilshere, I watched the whole of that initial speech he did to the squad. I'm very, very impressed. I do feel as though Jack Wilshere, from the clips I've seen before as well, was a very good manager. He'll get this Luton side playing some lovely football, and I think it might take a couple of weeks to bed in, but towards that back end of the season, they will arguably be form-wise the best team in the league, and that will be what it takes to push them into the playoffs. 3rd place, and just missing out on automatic promotion, it's going to be Huddersfield Town. A great transfer window on paper in the summer. On the pitch, there's still a few things they need to get right. They will get it right, though. I do back them to do so. And Lee Grant, of course, his first ever job in management. There's always going to be a few teething areas for them. And once they do pick up form, I do think it's going to be very close between them and 2nd place as to who does get up automatically. Maybe interchangeable. I've gone for them in 3rd, though, just because of the experience of Lee Grant. And, of course, this big group of players pushed together. Are there going to be a few results here and there that let them down? Maybe now, at the end of the season. In 2nd place then, automatic promotion, I do think it's going to be Stockport. Originally, I had them winning the league. I don't think they will now, but what I do think is that they're demonstrating themselves as a squad that consistently can grind out results and pick up points. That is what title winners do. That's what promotion hopefuls do. They pick up points where they shouldn't be picking them up. And we've seen Stockport do that so far this season. So I haven't been as impressed as I thought I would be with Stockport. But as this season goes on, I'm backing them to do so. A couple of big signings in January as well to push them over the line. I think they will get there. In 1st place then, I'm going to go for Cardiff, of course. I'm just so impressed by them. Yes, they've had a few ropey results here and there, but as this season goes on, this squad will get better and better and better. On paper, it's arguably the best squad in the league. They've got youth and experience coming through together to create this side. The academy's even producing players as well. So for me, Cardiff should do enough to win the league and be champions back up to the championship, where they belong, in my opinion, as well. All right, then, on to the championship. So, in 24th place, I've got Sheffield Wednesday. Sorry, lads, I just don't think you boys are going to be able to stay up. It's a valiant effort. But as this season goes on, it's going to be so hard to stay consistent. So, Sheffield Wednesday, unfortunately, going down. Again, it's all due to stuff off the pitch, but on the pitch, they've given it a go, but they're going to go down. In 23rd place, it's going to be Oxford, a side that I did think had enough to stay up, but now I'm not thinking that, to be honest with you. I think Oxford are going to struggle. I can see them going down. A few bad games, a bit of bad momentum. It will really begin to push them down the table. And when it comes to those important games at the end of the season, are they going to have the bottle to stay up? It's no disrespect, Oxford, but I just don't think they will. 22nd place, then, it's going to be Blackburn, another another side that unfortunately will go down, a big side to go down to League One. Again, I just don't think they've got enough under Valerian Ismail, and a lot of the fans are getting very concerned about him now, thinking they have to make a change if they want to stay up. I think they do. I don't think it will come soon enough, though. That's the problem, Blackburn fans. I don't think it will come soon enough. So Blackburn, unfortunately, going down. In 21st place, I'm going to go for Hull City, just doing enough to survive. And I'm going to put this largely down to Ollie McBurney, Ryan Giles, Charlie Hughes, just to name a couple of players that are really going to need to be at their best, stay injury free as well. That's a big one. But Hull City to just survive based on those players. If they get injured and they're not able to spend in January, it could be a different story. But as of right now, Hull have got enough to stay up. In 20th place, I'm going to go for Portsmouth. And again, I just feel as though Portsmouth have got enough to stay up. They won't necessarily be in trouble, but I can't see them pushing up the league. Maybe they will. Maybe this one is slightly off. But from what I've seen from Portsmouth so far this season, I've not necessarily been massively impressed. So I'm going to put Portsmouth sat there in 20th. 19th place, it's Watford. I'm sure they'll have 4 more managers by the end of the season, and they'll strip the whole squad in January, get a load of Italian players in on loan, whatever they sort of do normally. But for me personally, I just don't see them being able to really build on much momentum. There'll be a couple of standout individuals, but ultimately another average season for Watford. 18th place, it's Sheffield United, another side that started this season so badly, but now under Chris Wilder, are they going to turn things around? I think they will, but it's not going to be as people think. And Sheffield United might even be able to make the playoffs by the end of the season. For me, not a chance. This group of players is a bunch of losers. And I hate to say it because there's a lot of quality in that side. Players like Tanganga, Gustavo Hamer, Callum O'Hare, just to name a couple. But for me personally, it's just a team of losers, and they're not going to get together and do enough to get a good run. Also expect players like Hamer to leave in January. 17th place, it's Charlton, who have made a great start back to life in the Championship. My worry with Charlton is they might have a few games where they just seem to drop down a bit, a few inconsistencies here and there, but ultimately they have to be happy to stabilise back in the league. They've got a good mix of young players, they've got experience, all of that will come together, and next season, who knows where they could go. But this season, I don't see it being top half, but still a very solid season for them. 16th place, it's Swansea, a side that I'm just not that impressed by. I think they get a few decent results here and there, but again, it's that word I keep using, inconsistency, and they seem to have it. So I think Swansea will drop off a little bit. I can't envision them being able to mount a playoff charge, and I think the teams I've put above them have a stronger shout of being in that mid-table area. So Swansea, not quite cutting it for me this season, just going to be an average season overall. 15th place, it's Derby. They've had some up and down results this season, and I just think that once they get going, they'll be fine, but I think there'll be a bit of a teething period throughout. So maybe from this point onwards, we'll say Derby is sort of the bottom of the middle table, maybe Swansea, but I just think that that's going to be roughly where they are. They might get a couple more places higher, but ultimately they're not going to be doing any sort of playoff charge or anything like that. In 14th place, I've gone for Preston, a side to me that will fall off after a great start, beating the likes of Leicester and Ipswich, but ultimately they will drop down, they will drop off. There's teams around them, in my opinion, that have probably strengthened better in the summer, that the longevity of the season, that will see those clubs rise, and Preston unfortunately fall. 13th place, I've gone for Bristol City, another side that started on fire, that have began to slow down, and that's where I think they'll end up, around that mid-table area. Nothing too crazy, nothing that special, maybe at best be in the playoff race towards the end of the season but fade off, but ultimately I do think they will begin to sort of stabilise in the middle of the table. 12th place and dead on mid-table, it's Norwich, a Norwich side that everyone thought was going to be up there this season. It's not quite been the case. They signed a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of question marks about their signings. Of course, at the start of the window, everyone is really positive about these signings. Unfortunately for them, they haven't really delivered. So Norwich going to be sat dead on in 12th. 11th place, it is Wrexham, a Wrexham side that I said had no chance of finishing in the top half. Well, look at me now, only a few months in and saying that they will. Of course, before I made my last video, there's been a few key signings. In particular, I'm looking at Ben Sheaf, him and O'Brien Ryan as a midfield duo, very, very solid. And Wrexham will have what it takes to grind results out, not necessarily be in the playoff race, but they'll be happy to cement themselves as a top half championship team with, of course, the aim of next season pushing on for promotion. 10th place, it's QPR. And after they lost 7-1 to Coventry, you could have been saying, oof, are they in trouble? Are they in trouble? I don't think they are at all. They've got a very, very solid side. They've got key players to come back as well, but they already look very strong. And I think Richard Kone might go down as one of the signings of the season, especially for them, but maybe even for the whole league. So 10th place, at the edge of the playoff race, I'm going to go for QPR. 9th place, I'm going to go for Birmingham City. I think they will sack Davis at some point throughout the season. It's going to be a very turbulent season for them. Similar to Wrexham, though, they'll just be happy, in my opinion, to stabilise back in the Championship. Yes, promotion was always the aim for them. You know, you heard the fans, that's what they wanted. The investment off the pitch demonstrated that they could do that. Unfortunately for me, I do think they will fall short. As I say, though, fall short under a new manager, whoever that may be. And again, they'll always be in the playoff race, whether they'll get there or not. I personally don't think so. Birmingham fans, I know you're going to say it's because of the colours behind me, but I think generally, be honest with yourselves, playoffs might just be too much for you in the first season back. 8th place, it is Millwall. Again, just missing out on the playoffs. It feels bad, it feels harsh to say so, but I just don't think they've got enough in comparison to the other squads around them. A couple of inconsistent results so far this season, but I'm looking past them. I know they'll be there or thereabouts towards the end of the season, but as I say, just missing out, not quite having enough, and it will cost them at certain points throughout the season, and other teams will push on ahead. 7th place, I'm going to go for Stoke City, a side that I said had no chance at the start of the season. Mark Robins, I'll put my hands up, he's proven me wrong. Fair play to him and his staff and his players for, you know, the way they've started this season. They've been superb. I think they're just going to miss out to the team that finishes in 6th. It might even go down to the final game of the season. That's how close the playoffs will be, as they always seem to be, but this year extra close between Stoke and my 6th place side, but Stoke to just fall short. And in 6th place, I'm going to go with Southampton, a Southampton side that have not started the best under Will Still, but I'm expecting him to get this group of players going. If it isn't going by January, they'll spend a lot of money and they'll arguably be one of the best teams in the league from January to May, and I'm expecting that to be the case. They'll give Will Still the money to go and do so, and when he has that cash, the players he brings in, that's going to be what boosts them up. So right now, we're not seeing much from Southampton. At the end of the season, I think they'll be one of the most favoured to go up via the playoffs. 5th place, I've given it to West Brom. I'm very impressed by West Brom. Losing Tom Fellows, of course, a big loss for them. I'm expecting them, another team, to do some good business in January, but they are showing signs that they can be a bit more consistent and grind out some more results. I'm really excited by a couple of players in the squad, Isaac Price arguably in particular, and I just think West Brom, amongst a bunch of teams that, if we're going to be honest, it's going to be close, but a bunch of teams that aren't at their best at the minute, West Brom to rise highest and put themselves in 5th. In 4th place, it's going to be Middlesbrough, and I now think that Middlesbrough, 3rd, 2nd and 1st are all going to be in a mini title race of some description. I think it's going to be very close, but separate to 5th and downwards. So 4th place at Middlesbrough, very good start under Rob Edwards. They play some nice football. I like their system. I like how it all works. They're even making Matt Targett look like a good football player. So fair play to Rob Edwards. But I do think they'll fall short out of the 4 teams. But regardless, a very solid season for Rob Edwards and Middlesbrough. And who knows, in the playoffs, anything can happen. In 3rd place then, and just missing out on automatic promotion, I've gone for Leicester City. A side that at first I was a bit concerned about, but demonstrating they've got more than enough quality on the pitch. Now, in the January transfer window, if Fatawu does leave and go somewhere else, they could be in trouble because he is superb. But they've also got Monga on the other side and Mavididi. So much quality in this side. Are they going to be able to spend in January? I don't actually know what is going to happen to them. If they can get a couple more bodies in, that will of course help their case. But as things stand at the minute, Leicester to finish in 3rd. In 2nd place, it's going to be Coventry City. It's going to be close between these 4 teams. points, as I've said, but Coventry to just get over the line. They're not very good at Wembley. They don't like Wembley. They used to when they were back in League One and League Two. They don't now. All it is bad memories for Coventry fans at Wembley. So I don't think they're going to put their fans through that again. I think they'll go one step higher and get automatic promotion. It's been very, very difficult to pinpoint a very solid team that's going to stay consistent and go up. But I look at Coventry and I look at Middlesbrough and I look at Leicester as those teams that can do so, but Coventry just haven't enough to get it over the line. And in first place, I do think it's going to be Ipswich. They've spent a lot of money. They've got a very good side. And as this season goes on, I think they will just begin to really take this league by storm and get promoted. So it might seem a bit of an obvious one and they may not be there or thereabouts right now, but with the rest of the season to go, Ipswich to me still the favourites to win the league. So that is my updated season predictions for the EFL. If you are enjoying the content, please do like, comment, subscribe. It means a lot to me. It helps me with the algorithm. But yeah, very, very interesting to see who does come out on top across the leagues. It's going to be very, very tight. So as I say though, just to round off, champions, Ipswich, Cardiff, and Swindon to see it all off. Can't believe I forgot Cardiff there. Ipswich, Cardiff, and Swindon to see it all off. So yeah, I'm gonna go and put that treble on right now because I'm feeling lucky. But as I say, hit the subscribe button, get the bell on. We've got some huge content coming across the next few weeks. All will be revealed, as well as a couple of documentaries as well. So very exciting times for the channel. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.